Welcome back to Lufthansa Aviation Training in Frankfurt. Last time we got an in-depth look at the A340-600 in the simulator, and today we're continuing the fun, getting to know this facility and how pilots get the highest possible quality training here. So to kick things off, let's leave the fixed-wing aircraft behind for a moment and do something a little bit different.
Now we're going to take a step into a very special simulator. It's a helicopter simulator, first time for me. H145, H135 simulator here. They're going to show us how it's done. It'll be really interesting. What do you think it's going to look like inside?
So we are just increasing the
Torque?
The torque.
Yes, right. And when you increase the torque, you feel like there's a drift.
Oh yeah, no, it's
to the left on this side. You have to do countermeasures with the pedals. Right.
Well, this is completely different
Yes, absolutely.
to what I'm normally doing.
Herausforderung, sage ich jetzt einfach mal. Ja, genau.
Right.
So adjust your seat that you get on the pedals pretty comfortably. Because you have to work with the pedals more than you have to work on the fixed wing.
Yeah, okay.
You just pulled it and you
Yeah,
more.
it's
A little
very-
more. Yeah, there you go. A little
Okay.
push forward.
Forward. All right.
You can give it a little push on the right pedal to have the nose straight up. Just a little
Okay,
push.
yeah.
That's-
Yeah, it's very sensitive.
yeah. And there you go. So right now you're at like 1,200 feet, 70 knots, and flying over the Cologne area.
Yeah, nice.
Now easy movement on the. Okay.
Yeah.
Do a go around, I would say.
Go around, okay.
Okay. Just give it a little push on the left. Yeah, there you go. And do a correction in the opposite again. Try to bring it in a stable position first, I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
Stable meaning still in the air?
Yes.
Okay.
And no hard movement. A little bit on the left.
I don't even know what's causing me to
Yeah,
fly
yeah.
sideways here.
Just a second. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Yeah,
It
that's
looks higher than you actually are.
Yeah.
This is why you need to work with the instruments.
Okay. Yeah.
So here you have the altitude on the ground is when you're quite deep
Yeah.
or quite low. And because looking out of the window, you would say, I'm still pretty high.
Yeah.
Aren't we? Right.
That's crazy. Yeah. The landing feels impossible.
It's a simulator. Nothing serious
Yeah.
can happen.
Let's see if nothing serious can happen. All right. So can I just start?
Yeah.
Am I clear to take off?
Yeah, you're
Yes.
clear to take off.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So
Again, the engine is still on idle. Make the same
Ah.
mistake like I did before.
oh, that's okay.
So you did that. You gain some speed.
Yeah. That is fascinating.
Yeah. Pitch forward. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
We had a
died.
terrain collision.
That is so complicated.
Yeah.
Like that's next level like coordination. I think it's the most trippy is that you put the nose down to take off. Like that's so counterintuitive. But then also for landing, you don't want to put the nose down too much because that gives you crazy speeds.
You want to do flying?
Yeah.
Okay,
do
let's
it.
try it then.
All right, so we're doing an accident
Okay.
scenario. And not our accident, but another accident that we're attending to, hopefully.
Okay. Tony, you said to the south?
Southwest.
Southwest, okay.
You had 210.
Like we have to go like in this direction?
I'll clear the weather.
Okay, okay. A little bit. Okay. Do we stay on this course?
Yeah.
And some,
Into the valley.
okay, a little bit more, gain some speed. No, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Help you a little bit. Can land maybe in the field nearby.
I've lost all.
A little bit more. That was too hard.
Yeah. I just, at some point, it was just doing what it wanted to. I had,
Okay,
nothing
okay.
I could do.
Yeah,
there.
then you have to like do countermeasures.
Yeah. But what could I have done there? Pulled more torque
Yeah,
up?
yeah, absolutely. You lost on the torque, and you were going down too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And a little bit more forward. Let's get some.
Why don't we just it's so confusing.
And you have to put on the left pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Not too hard.
It's so impossible.
It's possible. You can do it. Okay, let's land here. I would say.
Okay.
Go easy on the controls. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. That looks good. That looks good.
Wires.
He's just jogging.
Okay, we have goods and supplies, and we have to bring them to the ship crew, I would say. And with the left pedal, let's go in this direction.
absolutely.
Course is 120. Yeah, there you go. Let's take some time. Okay, like we have 10 feet.
Nice thing with the repeat instruments, I can actually see which buttons the pilot is pressing, but I can also, as the instructor, I can press the button myself.
When it comes to the simulator, you have to also simulate the forces that are applying on your body. And when it comes to fixed wing flight, you just have to simulate the acceleration forward and backward,
Yeah.
which can be simulated by the leaning and the movement.
Yeah.
But here you have the third dimension. You also have to simulate the forces that are working on your body when you're going up and down. Maybe this has to do something with because there is a new complexity in it than you didn't have on the fixed wing.
Yeah.
This is the briefing room, actually with the image of the cockpit, where we meet just 1 hour before with the pilots. And the briefing is like we just get to know each other, just socialize a bit. And then we just talk about the topics we have during the next 4 hours. Like the basic performance for a pilot is the scan. Or the pilot has to have a scan where he looks when he's flying. And you cannot, like, it's very important to have a quick scan, but you cannot just increase the speed of your scan. But it's very important to know where to look. For example, if you're flying by hand, then you have to see when you're on the approach, okay, which is the descent rate I'm flying. So you have to look at your descent rate and you have to put it into connection to the ground speed, for example. You can either multiply it by 5 or divide it by 2. So if you divide like 169 by 2, then it's roughly 800. So if you look at a picture like this with a ground speed of 169 knots and 11 on there, that means 1,100 feet rate of descent. That means you're descending too steep or steeper than a 3 degrees slope. And as we're flying A330, A340, 300 and A340, 600, there are some difference, for example, on the fuel panel. You can show here the fuel panel on the 330 is different to the fuel panel on the 340-600. The basic strategy for pilots, how to handle a problem. Or with every problem you have the same strategy. It's like fly, analyze, and perform. So before you start with the strategy, you have to start with a notification. Why is it important? Because if you start with reading an ECAM message or pointing out, oh, we have smoke, then both of them start at the same point. Imagine you're training hydraulic failures. You train that for 2 days, and then you're flying, and then this message comes up. And you don't point it out, that maybe your brain is, oh, I just trained it for 2 days, and I exactly know what to do, and you are just a few steps ahead. But if just pointing it out at the beginning, what's the point, or what's the reason, or what did I see, or what's the message, everybody starts here. And fly means aviate, navigate, communicate. You have to know which pitch I have to have. If you have an engine failure, you have to lower the pitch. Yeah. For example, if you have unreliable speed, you have memory items you have to do. Navigate means, okay, we're just flying straight ahead because there is no mountains. We have to talk or discuss that in the briefing before. And communicate means, okay, we are both communicating, you understand me and I understand you, like with the oxygen mask, for example, and communicate to the air traffic controller. So fly. Afterwards, you go to the analyze or verify, you see, okay, what's the problem? Okay, I have this message, and there's another indication, maybe here is a fault light, whatever. And then you say, okay, is that time critical or not? And then you go to perform, which means you have either ECAM or, for example, the EQAH, which is a paper checklist. And then you just handle the ECAM and handle the status. And once this is finished, you gather the facts you have, what's wrong with the aircraft, and then you check the options, the risks and benefits for each option, and then you have a decision. But the most important thing is, why are you doing this? You have to have a goal. So you have to define what you want to have. For example, you have to define that you have 2,400 meters of runway. You have a Cat 1 approach and crosswind component maximum of 15 knots. So you define it by having the facts of what is the aircraft capable of. And then have this, and with this you go through the options, do a threat and error management there, see, okay, the airport has this runway length, but the weather is kind of close to that minimum. And then you go to the options and the risks and benefits, and then you decide whether it's time critical. When it's time critical, you can look on your navigational display, and the first airport that meets this and has no threats, this is your most suitable airport, or the next suitable airport. And then you do the decision, execution, you tell the ATC what you're doing, tell your company what you're doing. And afterwards, you do the check and say, okay, let's review it.
We're about to go into the 747 simulator, and also really cool for you today because you've not flown the 747 in quite a while.
Exactly.
So
I'm instructor, but I'm instructor on Airbus long range, A330, A340, and not on that beauty. So I'm really looking forward to fly the 747 again.
Cool, so let's head in.
So, okay, we still have the localizer, you get the speed mode as well, and then
the parking brake is off.
Parking brake is off. This time we have the auto brake running, armed, and yeah, missed approach altitude, I think.
Yeah. Okay, then let's rock.
Keep in mind that Claus is not currently a 747 pilot, and we aren't flying according to standard procedures here. This is just to get a sense of what it's like in the 747 cockpit, while we continue working to hopefully bring you the real thing one day. Fingers crossed. And we also have a very exclusive and rare chance to practice some emergency scenarios on board today. To start off, Claus is going to fly the approach to Frankfurt's runway 25 center to warm up.
30, 20, 10.
Speed brakes up. Reverse is normal.
So from what I understand, you used to fly this, but it's been a while.
It's been a while. I mean, the last flight on this 747 was in 2010, I guess, which is quite a while. And so this was the first landing since then, and it was the first landing from the left side because I was a co-pilot back then. So, and it was quite acceptable in my opinion.
How did it feel?
Well, it feels great. I mean, flying a 747, even if it's a simulator, it's always amazing. And it's different because you have to trim the airplane, and if you're used to fly the Airbus for like 15 years, you're not used to trim the airplane. This is like a whole different story.
Yeah.
Presently I'm flying A330 and A340, so which is, the size is a bit similar, but the handling is completely different. Like a typical situation as an instructor is to train the rejected takeoff. That means if an engine fails before V1, or if there's an engine fire before V1, then the pilots have to reject the takeoff. This is what we typically train in this simulator like this. And this is what I'm just programming here.
Because Claus is also an instructor, he's well versed in operating the sim from this seat, where everything about the flying scenario can be set and customized according to the training needed.
So you can here now say at ground speed of, let's say, 100 knots. So it's like armed on that, and it says crossing. That means when you're going faster than 100, the engine will fire. So then if I put it on, it's in magenta, and then it's armed.
Okay.
And then we do the takeoff, and surprisingly at 100 knots, the fire bell is going to ring, and the indication will be this fire over there. This one will illuminate, and here it will also illuminate.
80 knots.
Checked.
Stop. Speed brakes up. Reverse as normal.
And your brakes.
Lufthansa 400 rejecting takeoff. Thing on the runway. Stand by.
Attention crew on station. Attention crew on station. So ja, da ist Licht ist an. Fire engine 1. So proceed.
Engine fire switch. Rotate to the stop and hold for 1 second.
So we just want to wait if the bottle discharge extinguishes the fire. Otherwise, we could go into the checklist and do the second bottle. So this was programmed that the first bottle, each engine has 2 bottles, 2 extinguisher bottles, and this one was programmed that after the first bottle is extinguished. It's very important because it's like the decision whether you are going to do the evacuation depends on is the fire still on or out. And this indication shows there's no fire. You will still double check if there's a fire, like real fire there, but this is also, it's a good sign that the fire is extinguished like that.
Different indications for fire. For example, we have those lights going on. This is the APU fire. The engine that senses fire is always in red.
A radar, there's a traffic in our 10 o'clock position, just confirm that altitude. So this is the TCAS shows the other traffic. This plus 06 means this traffic is 600 feet above, and it's moving towards us.
Descend.
TCAS I have control.
Lufthansa 400 TCAS RA, TCAS RA.
Increase descent. Increase descent. Clear of conflict.
Lufthansa 400 is clear of conflict. Climbing back, flight level 350.
More relaxing than I expected.
Yeah. It's like, the interesting thing is when you see like intruder in the simulator, every pilot knows, okay, this is going to be the resolution, but that's going to be active. If you see like a thing like this, or it says traffic in the real aircraft, you know, normally it's not happening. So this is why training is so important, because you put it in your deep memory, you know what to do, and then when this happens, the startle, you can't avoid a startle or a surprise effect. It's there. We're just doing the rapid decompression, which is like you're flying at a cruising altitude, and there's like for whatever reason the cargo door blows off, whatever, or you have a hole in the aircraft, so the aircraft loses the pressure instantly, Then we're going to train to start the descent right away, and we have to put on the oxygen mask because we have to look that we survive to operate the plane, obviously. And this interesting thing about this is just by training this, afterwards the vision is limited due to the goggles of the oxygen mask, and the communication is limited. You will hear it because the noise is almost something like a Darth Vader. And it's always interesting if you just do the training in the simulator briefing room and talk about the things, and then you experience like that. Forward cargo. Masken auf, oder?
Mayday, 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 Lufthansa 401. We have a red pit decompression. We are turning right, descending about 10,000 feet. Stand by.
Yeah. So we can squawk 7700 is good.
7700 is in. We could think about the speed brake. But
Thank you.
Passenger oxygen is push to on and hold for 1 second.
Okay, so emergency scenarios done. Let's switch to something different. All right, I have zero training on any aircraft really, and I've never sat in a 747 cockpit before. Let's see if I can land this thing at Frankfurt, runway
25 center.
25 center.
This is the ILS, the localizer and the glide slope, which is the instrument landing system you're following.
Yeah.
And actually it's a good rate of descent, around 850 feet. It's like half of the ground speed. So 16 divided by 2 is 800 something. That's a good rate of descent. You have to maybe trim the aircraft when you get a bit faster or get a bit slower. You will see it. The pitch altitude will be around 1 or 2 degrees. So this will be it.
And the trim is here.
The trim is there, up and down.
Nose down, nose
but
up.
Still, yeah, this is the trim. The autopilot is still on. You can wait until the auto thrust is adjusting.
Yeah.
So, and it's about like 60%. You can now disconnect it.
Disconnect.
And then disconnect the autopilot by pushing
right here. All right.
And then you see you get a bit downwards. You have to go a little bit up and maybe just trim up a little bit.
Trim.
Not too long, just only a short. And you see the glide slope. You're just slightly below the glide slope.
Yeah.
So the flight director shows you fly up, and you have to adjust a bit of thrust.
A little bit more.
Bit more power, just 60%. When it comes to the flare, when the voice says 30, you just pull it back a little bit. You just get the glide slope, get a little bit higher. Pull back for the brake, and when it says 20, just pull the thrust levels back to idle.
50, 40, 30,
pull it back
20,
and idle.
10.
Slide. Hold. Blade to it.
Spoilers. And now the reverses. Pull the reverses.
Reverses.
And now they're released. You can back and away. Perfect. Yeah, 60 knots. I have control.
And baby, control.
Okay, let's go.
Alright, cool.
So the autopilot is still on. This is adjusting. Just wait it until it's like about at the speed. So yeah, now it's around 60%. You might disconnect the auto thrust.
50, 40, 30, 20,
Thrust was big.
10.
There we are. Reverses. Just nose down. Slowly. Yeah, that's good. And the reverse is full. Yeah. Speed brake, reverse. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Going on a 747, my first landing wasn't also that good because it's totally different.
Yeah.
You're sitting so much higher.
Yeah.
And I remember this was like, you have to get used to it. Even though you're training in the simulator, like in the real aircraft, it's still a bit different.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting or funny is if I was on the 737 or A320 and there was a 747 pilot on the jump seat flying with us.
Yeah.
And the time you're going through 30 and 20 feet,
Yeah.
they were just like
Yeah.
freezing because like on the 747 you're
Yeah.
already down, already there. So it's like you get really used to that visually.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you did well because actually I'm a nice guy and I said, of course I said you did well. You did very good, but this is like when the training, you start with this and there are a lot of improvements still there. We didn't have the motion on, so there was no feedback of how the landing would have been like in real landing. Most probably it would have been like kind of tough landing, but it is like the start of the things, the start of the training you did, and for a first landing it was quite okay. But I don't know if it would have worked out on the real plane. So just with that assistance and everything, you did a very good job. I saw a lot of people doing the simulator without like being a pilot on those missions, and you did a very good job, but still some training to do, I guess.
Now we're going to try flying the famously tricky Canarsie Approach into New York's JFK Airport. Also a rare treat to get to see what this would look like from up here.
Special thing about the Canarsie Approach here is normally you have an instrument landing system, ILS, where you have like 10 miles straight final, and you have localizer and glide slope indication. But to avoid noise over at the city of New York, we'll fly the Canarsie just from the ocean and then do a right turn here, which is normally 1 tree left for landing and 1 tree right for takeoff, so a long way around. And we have those lead-in lights you will see in a minute, even in the simulator. We have to fly south of the racetrack and south of the hotel. You will see it as well. And then do the landing on the 1 tree left. And it's called Canarsie because there's this VOR, this navigation aid with that name. I've flown it on a 747 as a co-pilot, and I just recently flown it a few times on an Airbus, which is always, it's amazing. I mean, just flying this approach is like maybe one of the most favorite approaches a pilot can do on this wonderful planet, right?
Here on the right we can see the old airport, and this is the point where we may leave the 2000 to descend to 1500.
So now we could descend at 1500, but to make it more or easier for pilots, they calculate a constant descent profile from this point. So with the former approach, we descended to 1500 feet and then had a level flight segment. Now we just started descent here out of 2000. It should work. Now the autopilot is switched off. We have to fly inbound that racetrack pattern.
Set final heading.
400.
There you see the poppy, the 2 whites and 2 red. That means that we are on the perfect descent path.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed brake up. The particular challenge is to fly a turn on very low altitude. Like the old airport of Hong Kong was a bit similar, and this is the same thing. You fly normally, you don't fly the turn at that low altitude. This is the challenge. Because the winds are changing, and you have to fly it, or you fly it most of the times manually. So this is the challenge on that. Well, Kai Tak was a bit more intense because there were all the buildings there, but the turn was a little bit later even. But this is quite a bit similar.
As long as we have this time in the 747 sim, let's have Claus show us around a few things in the cockpit.
This is the radio communication. We have 1, 2, 3 sets. And this is the flight management computer, the same actually as we have there, but this one is mostly used for communication, like with ACARS or SATCOM. The transponder code is normally given by ATC, and as we're in a simulator, we can choose our own transponder code, which is, of course, 1747. And switching on to transponder, which is on the parking position that shows the code on Flight Radar 24. It shows the plane. Like you might wonder, what's this for? It's like the steering wheel when you're on ground. When you're on ground with the aircraft, you could steer with the rudder pedals. On top, there's the brakes, and on the bottom, you can see you move the rudder of the plane, and you move when you're on the ground, you move the front tires. And you see this one is moving as well, because you have much more way if you just move it like this. This is how you steer plane on the ground. You have this on this side and on that side. Yeah, because like you have this 100% sure that where you have to 100% safety that everything is working like you want it to be. Like we check that the gear is down before we power up the aircraft. We have to check that the wipers are off before we power up the aircraft. And this is the same with every aircraft. Normally it is like that, but like in very rare cases, maybe not. And this is why the checklists are important. And the most important thing about checklists is you have to use them like 100% of the time, because otherwise they don't make any sense. A normal simulator session would start with a briefing, like 1 hour before the simulator. And then we go to the simulator, and the simulator session is about 4 hours. Presently we do like evidence-based training. That means the pilot goes to the simulator every 6 months for 2 days. So the first day is like an evaluation, so how our both pilots work together and to see how the situation is, how their performance is. And then we start with basic things like engine failure just after liftoff, or as we saw, the rejected takeoff. Those things are just manual training. And then the instructor has a picture after the first day and sees, okay, is there maybe some more training needed on specific things, or we do some extra things that maybe popped up during the last months of operation. That means, okay, we have to maybe focus on go rounds or focus on like TCAS maneuvers or something. And then there are some scenarios on the second day, same thing, 1 hour briefing and 4 hours in the simulator, and then a debriefing. Those are basically those 2 days. Yeah, this session is every 6 months. Every pilot, even as I'm an instructor, I have to do it as well. Every 6 months I'm sitting here in a sweaty seat in the front. As we do the evidence-based training in the simulator, which is like, as I said, based on evidence, we have to do only every 2 year a line check. So every 2 year there is a pilot sitting in the back and just watching and maybe asking some interesting questions. The 747 is like, when I remember the time, the cockpit is not very fancy because as I'm really huge, the cockpit is really small. The windows are not that big. But when I flew the 747, I felt that like this airplane has a soul. Every 747 just felt a little bit different when you're just lowering the flaps. It was just like a tiny little difference on every plane. So I still thought every 747 has a soul, is a unique version of a plane.
Thanks for joining today as we got this unique look inside this incredible training facility. We're planning to come back when they officially inaugurate the 777X sims, so stay tuned for that, as well as the cabin crew training we shot on this trip, which is coming soon in another video, and much more. And many thanks to Claus and Lufthansa Aviation Training for showing us what they do. Let us know if you have any questions down in the comments as usual. See you next time.
3, 2, 1.